Today on GoodEnough Motorsport, we're reassembling the front end suspension. Today, I get the spindles back on with brand new dust shields on both sides. The calipers have been restored. The brake rotors, well, you know, they have surface stress. No big deal. That'll go away as we brake. So they're brand new. And brand new Moog lower ball joints.
And coffee.
There's mine. So what we'll be needing today mostly is the torque wrench and possibly a pry bar to prevent the wheels from turning. So now we simply put the ball joint in its spot in the spindle. That would be a 19mm, so I've brought you a ratchet spanner. So tighten that sumbitch as far as it will go. It tends to turn. And afterwards, we shall be using the torque wrench. Ironbrew! Do you know how to use torque wrench?
What is that? Again.
I know, right?
That's beautiful.
It is. So you know how to use this?
It's a ratchet. But a big ratchet.
It's a bit more than that.
Oh yeah?
So we need to torque this bolt down, this nut rather, to 94 foot-pounds. So we have focusing problems here. Foot-pounds, now it's at like 30 or so. So you pull this collar down. You need to thread it up to 90 here. You see the 0? So I go to, now it's zeroed at 90. It needs to be 94. 2, 4. So therefore, 94 foot-pounds. Always do it twice because the second or third time you could still move a little bit.
I see.
So you gotta make sure. And afterwards, the cutter pin. Right. So that will be ready to go back on the car. Next up, it's Ironbrew's turn. There you go. Almost like a pro.
Almost.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
Alright.
Is it set?
Yeah, it's set up properly. This is Newton meters. Foot-pounds are on the other side. Different numbers,
Nice.
same weight. Whoa. Not too hard. There we go. Oh! Oh boy, you got lucky.
No, it's professional.
Nah, it's luck. Shut up. So next, cutter pin. Not the most elegant, but it will do. In other words, it is good enough.
So now we are ready to put
it on the car.
Oh shit!
So now we have to put this part on this part. Simple, right? Let's start by getting these bolts or inserts into these holes here. First of all,
right there.
right. Now those golden nuts here and this bolt will hold the ball joint in place.
Seems good.
Pull on that, pull it outwards. There you go. And now you can put the axle shaft in its home.
You think?
I know.
And drop it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Come here, motherfucker.
So you're going in?
Yeah.
There you go. Ah, see, all you needed to do was to slightly push it in a bit more.
Oh.
Yeah. Just had to be a bit rougher with her. She kind of likes it rough.
Oh. I see.
We have a bit of a problem here, insofar that these bolts foul on the inside of the rotors. So for the time being, the rest of it is on hold, and we'll see what solution we can come up with. Ideally, I think a button head Allen bolt would be the best solution, because given that it's round, it would clear the rotors. Hopefully it would allow it to turn, but we will try to explore different options if such a thing is possible. Well, there's an anticlimactic and disappointing end to the day, and a very early end. The bolts that hold the dust shield fell on the brake rotors, and we can no longer proceed forward with the installation. I had hoped to put the car on the ground by the end of the day, or hell, even by 1 PM. That will not be the case. So, I guess that's the name of the game of a project car. So we just might have finally gotten a bit of wind with those button head Allen screws. This is fitting in so easily. Hopefully they're not too long, but I will be test fitting tonight to see if it all clears. By all accounts, it should. But if you compare, let's see. If we compare, they are shorter in height, they are smaller in diameter, and well, of course, the roundness of the head does help clear the discs. So these are going on right away, and so far it is proving promising. If need be, we can always trim them down and make them shorter. Well, of course, it couldn't be that easy, now could it? This is as far as it will go in on all 3 bolts. So some shortening has to happen. So, after cutting down the bolts to the proper needed size, they let the wheels, rather the disc, turn without interference, which is quite the win. So now I can actually move on and install the calipers, which I've already done on the other side. So that's good enough for tonight. How about I actually bolt them on? Oh wow, I should have gotten lucky with the roll and put it in on my first try. Now with my level, still you may think, with the fluke, or, there's no way that was meant to happen. It wasn't a fluke. What was is that I set it on lefty loose instead of righty tighty. That was a total fluke, and not me being distracted at all. Okay, it might have been. That's about a grunt, which is the proper torque spec. A moose grunt, for those in the know, a full moose grunt would just break everything. So even as cool as she looks, I've elected not to put it back on the ground because the mid-pipe needs to go back on, the tie rod boot that still needs to be tied back on, and the brake line still needs to be hooked up. 3 really good reasons not to fuck with what is already a good situation so far as where it's standing. So hopefully in the coming days that would all get taken care of. So the plan of attack for today is to get this in, bolt this on, get this in, complete the system, at least up front, dropper, and then repeat at the rear and install the exhaust system. That is the plan. Will it go according to said plan? That remains to be seen. As usual, first step is to jack up your... Well, that's just rude. Moving on to step 2. Step 2 is to pop the bonnet. Whoa, what the hell? Alright. It's not leaking from the plug. So I believe I've spotted the leak. It's coming from down there. I don't know how or why, but yeah. Look at a bum rad. That's eBay for you. Fuck. I have to see if this can be fixed. Otherwise, that's $200 down the shitter. Well, how's that for a fuck you kind of day? Yeah, that would explain the leak. And it's not the only one that's fucked up. Here they are. Genuine Toyota items. Spared no expense. Except for the rat, as we saw. Not sure about the proper torque setting. I'll look it up later. Because when I used to look at the torque setting is the phone I used to record. Getting shit done. So far so good. So I'm down here preparing to pull my e-brake cable. There's a bolt there and one further up that are currently soaked in PB Blaster. I'm gonna let that sit. And there's a skid plate protecting the gas tank that I removed. It's currently in the shop because I thought it was greasy as hell and I wanted to restore it back up a bit. I've sprayed this bastard with brake cleaner and gunk. I started using the brush on it and this crud just gets shot everywhere, including in my face. That's when I realized that's a perfect use for a face mask. At least a valid one. Yeah, there was a lot of crud on it. Now it's all brushed down, ready to get primed and painted. I'm thinking rubber guard because it's gonna see a lot of abuse. After only the first layer of this, it's a paint and a primer. So yeah, that some bitch is gonna look good. I have managed to extract the e-brake cable without too much trouble. And one of the clamps like that, this one here, just rusted off, so I didn't even need to undo the bolt, which might have snapped. But upon first inspection, this does not bode well. Come on. This doesn't look good. And after pulling off that boot here, there seems to be a lot of corrosion in there. So hopefully maybe this helps loosen it. But considering the state of that, I may have to place in an order for a new one. I got a brand new genuine Toyota handbrake cable. As nice as it is quite nice. It needs a bit of preventive attention. All the shiny bits, they are likely to rust out if they're not treated accordingly. If the old one is anything to go by, it's not a question of if, only when. In that case, all that's needed is some rust prevention, paint, just anti-rust paint. So, let's get on with it then. Right, so admittedly this, is a bit sketchy, but it doesn't need to be there for. I made out look like a proper idiot. This will be protected, so it's worth looking like an idiot.